We are here in Toledo, Ohio. Vice President Biden in the midst of a three-city tour. Long day for him in Ohio on behalf of Hillary Clinton. One official event in Cleveland talking about the fight against cancer. But what strikes me so far is how much Joe Biden campaigning in 2016 is like Joe Biden campaigning in 2008 when he first ran.
Or 2012 or any other time.
Or 1988.
One thing about Joe Biden is that this is a man who loves the campaign trail, loves it, loves it. A lot of candidates, like, they don't love the retail part of it. They don't love the fundraising part. What they like is, being in office. Joe Biden likes doing this stuff, getting out, pressing the flesh, being with the folks. And this is really, he may at some point campaign again, but in any official capacity, this is his last campaign, not on the ballot himself, but he's taking advantage of this. He wants to be out there, and he's doing a ton of stuff, not just for Hillary Clinton, but for down ballot candidates. He's really been focused on Senate candidates, Democratic Senate candidates in places that Democrats need to win in order to take over the upper chamber.
He's a guy who knows, both from the vantage point of being in the White House, but also from being on the Capitol Hill, the difference for the Democratic Party and for Hillary Clinton's presidency, if she wins, of being in the majority versus the minority. And he knows a lot of the senators, he knows a lot of the Senate candidates, and so he is, as you said, focused in a granular way on who's on the ballot, what are their chances, what he can do to help them raise money, do events. And you see in all these campaigns now a very integrated Democratic Party, a very unified Democratic Party. And the stop he made in Cleveland at a Clinton campaign office, you see in the brochures and the literature there, very much focused on who else is on the ballot, and very much focused on the Obama-Biden legacy. One of the fascinating things to me is he talks about the notion of, well, Hillary Clinton is going to keep things going, but do even more. Right. Very much in line with the tightrope that Hillary Clinton has had to walk. She doesn't want to say the last 8 years was a failure by any means, but building on them, and he's very effective at doing the exact same thing.
Right, but I do think this down ballot thing is really what's striking, because we're seeing President Obama now is doing all these endorsements for House candidates, doing a lot of stuff for Senate candidates. Joe Biden here in Ohio today, tomorrow in Pennsylvania. They are now shifted in a way. The surrogate operation was always very strong for Hillary Clinton because of the people she has. She today is with Elizabeth Warren up in New Hampshire. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Joe Biden, they were going to be important to her campaign. Now it's, as they are all feeling more secure and more confident that Hillary Clinton is going to win, they're now starting to say, hey, we can afford to shift our focus a little bit. He's doing Hillary Clinton events here, but Ted Strickland's here today, running from way behind in the Senate race in Ohio. But you can see all the super surrogates now starting to say, we're still campaigning for Hillary Clinton, but we're also now campaigning to just generate Democratic enthusiasm in key battleground states where there are senators that we must elect if Hillary Clinton is going to have a Democratic, or at least half of the Democratic legislature, and maybe total control of the Capitol Hill if the thing keeps moving in her direction.
Yeah. The other thing you see when you go out with Biden, as we've seen already today, is a guy who continues to balance. People have a great affection for him, but even though he's been a vice president now for almost 8 years, he is still regular Joe. When he's mixing with people, they're glad to see him. They're inspired by him, but they're not in awe. They're not intimidated. He puts people at ease.
He doesn't want that.
Yeah, he doesn't want that. He doesn't do anything to inspire it. Yeah. And he joked this morning in Cleveland about how he's like the poorest guy ever to be a vice president, and when he was in the Senate, one of the least wealthy senators. Yeah. And he wears all that like a badge of honor.
People think that he took the Amtrak train because he wanted to be, stay close to the people. He also took it because he couldn't really afford to fly back and forth.
Yeah, well, or to have the two houses.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
This is a state where of all the battleground states, for just a month ago, people talked about Hillary Clinton not winning Ohio. Yeah. You can tell from the way Joe Biden is acting here, from the focus the Democrats are putting on it. If there is going to be this movement towards Hillary Clinton that we're seeing in the national polls, maybe they can put Ohio in the Democratic column, which would be a big boost for the party, obviously.
Right. It's still of the battleground states, it's still the place where Donald Trump is doing best, along with Iowa, places where he seems to be either a little bit ahead or at least very, very close. Basically now they're kind of coin toss states. The other thing you see in Biden, we saw earlier today with him in Cleveland, is just the degree of contempt that he has for Donald Trump. Not at all unique among true blue Democrats, but the comment that he made the other day about wanting him to take him out behind the bleachers, he hasn't said anything that provocative today, but you can sense it. And he just he
brings it up easily.
It boggles his mind that Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, and he does not hesitate in expressing that sense of befuddlement and irritation bordering on anger.